And we are back once again for the first time this week, and of course, the first time this month as well. Freshly pressed on the Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love live, 31 minutes past 7 a.m. And we are going to take a look at the stories in the papers making the rounds. You know how we do, and if you don't know, I'll let you know. I'll give you an insight. The stories are here, the analysts are online as well. And of course, we look forward to getting your thoughts, your opinions, and your feelings on the different stories we'll be talking about this morning from all the dailies across Nigeria. Welcome into a brand new week and a brand new month as well. My name is Ayokunmi Kikireko, and it is a great day to be here. Back again with you. Great to be here once again. Yes, took a break to get myself together to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and drink some tea as well. Yes, I know Abe's going to get that particular reference. And speaking of Abe, joining me this morning to analyze the stories, give perspective. First of all, Abe Bozimo is in the building. Abe, great to see you. Good morning.
Great to see you. Welcome back. And great to see you, Mr. C. Missed you sometime last week. And happy September to all of the wonderful listeners out there and you guys in the studio.
Yes,
Let's make
indeed.
it a September to remember,
Yes,
like
of
Barry White said.
yes, of course. Mr. C, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning.
Volume, I don't know why.
Good morning, Nayo. Good morning,
Now,
AD. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Lagos. And we're now in the interesting part of the year where all the months end with bar. And bar in the lingua of the street means money.
Oh,
Let's
yes,
go out and
indeed.
get it.
Ah, I like that. Let's get that money. All right, to join us this morning on the show. The WhatsApp number is there. YouTube is there as well. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 0911 YouTube, you can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can leave your comments in the chat section there. I'll get them alongside the WhatsApp messages as well. All right, let's begin this journey real quick this morning. We are starting in the punch. Mr. C, let's talk about the House of Representatives. Now, they have pledged their loyalty and support for the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, amid a report of an imminent showdown, in quotes, over delayed payments in the payment of contracts of constituency projects nominated by the members. Now, in a statement issued on Sunday by spokesman Ayokunmi, the House said that though members are at liberty to express their personal opinions, stressing that as a legislative unit, the Green Chamber is solidly behind Abbas's leadership. Mr. Singh.
Okay, so thank you. I am reading this story, right? And I just got the impression that, look, this is not a story serious people should dwell on. And I'm going to explain why. The so-called or purported showdown is about delayed payment in respect of constituency projects nominated by the members. So where we are is this, right? The members have nominated projects. And it stands to reason that on paper, on the face of it, they're interested in the delivery of this project so that their constituents will receive the so-called fabled dividends of democracy. On paper, that is what it is. But in reality, every discerning Nigerian knows what this is about. This is the third year of their tenure. Very soon, the nomination period will start, campaigning period will start. Money is required. And maybe some of them have struck deals or agreements with some of the contractors for kickbacks to be given to them. This is not uncommon. We've had this problem since independence. So here we are being told that there's going to be a showdown over delays in payments. Now, my question to the distinguished members of the Green Chamber is this. In respect of the projects that were not nominated by you, that have stalled, have either not been completed or have not even been started, are you this eager to follow up? Are you this concerned?
That's a good question.
In respect of projects that should have been done by various development agencies and ministries, have they done the necessary follow-up? Why are they so concerned about these particular projects? Because they were nominated by them. Now, a study released 2 years ago did indicate that a good number of constituency projects simply cannot be located.
So they found nowhere.
They cannot be located anywhere.
So they're projects on paper.
On paper, they are projects. Monies have been approved, monies have been released, but the projects cannot be located. And it comes back to the eternal question: why are they allowed? This business of constituency projects has to stop. At least the way we are carrying it out in Nigeria. Yes, in other countries, yes, we know even in England, members of parliament are able to influence projects, but they don't have the sort of control and influence our guys have. Now, what should actually be done is take a community, take a constituency. What do they exactly need? Because sometimes some of these projects nominated by the members are complete variance with what the people actually need. So you find that they're giving a town hall. Somebody does a town hall, says it's his constituency project. Another person distributes wheelbarrows, distributes shovels, distributes spades. He says he's done constituency project. Another person renovates graveyards. He says it's his constituency project. So the big question is, an audit needs to be carried out. What are these constituency projects? How do they resonate or align with the wishes and aspirations of the constituents in whose name these projects are purportedly being carried out? Also, there's some talk about complaints about appointments or employments into the National Assembly Commission. Again, if only we will follow due process, due procedure, we won't be hearing all of these things. But more importantly, the Green Chamber and the Red Chamber, by extension, should be focusing on more serious things, focusing on the growth of the economy. I was reading an article on Saturday. Our neighbors, Benin, Ayo, over the past 10 years, each year they've done at least 6% growth in GDP. Each year for the past 10 years. In some years, they've surpassed 6%. So that's a 60% growth minimum over a 10-year period in GDP. I don't see our greenhouse engaging the executive in respect to growth and seeing how we can improve things. I don't see them taking concrete steps, being disinterested in ensuring that the ease of doing business even gets better.
Which is important. I mean, since there's all the talk about having foreign investments in and so on and so forth, no one is going to put their monies or invest in environments that isn't welcoming or easy to do business.
Now, the final question, and this takes us back to what I was saying in the beginning. Where are they the ones complaining about delayed payments? The people who should be doing the work or who have done the work, why are they not complaining? Were no contracts? Did they not sign contracts with these contractors? What do the contractual terms say? So if the lawmakers are not parties to those contracts, on what basis are they complaining or seeking to complain?
What is their vested interest in said contract is the question.
Exactly.
Anyways.
So, maybe.
One small point. While we cannot find the projects in some cases, I'm sure if we look carefully, we can find the money for the projects in certain Baban regards. But let's go on to the next story.
Constituency projects. Now, this is a huge elephant in the room. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Anyways, let's keep the ball rolling here, AB. Let's talk about matters that have to do with security. This is coming out of the Daily Trust, where the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has launched a new task force operation labeled Enduring Peace to tackle insecurity bedeviling Plateau State and some parts of Bauchi and Kaduna as well. The initiative, which replaced the former Operation Safe Haven, was flagged off at the headquarters of 3 Division Nigeria Army Rukuba Barracks in Jos. Now, speaking during the flag-off ceremony, the Chief of Army Staff said the new operation is a rebranding of Operation Safe Haven aimed to achieve lasting peace in joint operation areas with the involvement of members of the affected. Now, AB, we've spoken severally about these sort of issues, and I sort of know your stance when it comes to these non-state actors. But do you think that this rebranding or this direction is still the way to go, bearing in mind the efficacy up until this point?
You know, this, I'm glad that it was the CDS himself who called it a rebranding. And it reminds me of trying to brand Coke into New Coke. I don't know that it's about the name. Rather, it should be about the effectiveness. We've heard some positive stories about the army doing their thing and terminating all terrorists far and wide. But when we talk about building or building on the peace in Plateau, I don't know whether the there is a deep level prank going on. Has there really been peace in Plateau for a while? Has Plateau not been actually the center of a lot of unfortunate stories when it comes to security in Nigeria? So you want to say conceptually that you are trying to move away from the safe haven. I don't know how safe Plateau and areas were. You want to now make it lasting peace. Fine. The concept is
Enduring
good.
peace.
Enduring peace. You want to move the mindset away from the protectionism to a peace-based atmosphere. I think the single line that I liked most in the story was that where they said that the police is coming in fully, because in peacetime, police should actually be the main, people protecting the populace. Soldiers should be ordinarily deployed when there's external threat, but we know for the past number of years, the soldiers have been all over the place, and it's actually exhausting the soldiers too. So I can see why this goal is is definitely timely. However, just rebranding, and a good thing too is that they say they are trying to get the army itself to adopt this mindset in all their operations to make sure that the goal is an enduring peace. Apart from terminating terrorists, thereafter, you want to try and make sure that the, the allure of peace is spread far and wide across the area. Conceptually, is good. How effective it will be, I think that remains to be seen, because for the hundreds of people who have been killed in recent times in those areas, they may not be present to hear about this peace, or their relations who are left may be highly skeptical. But at a top level concept, I can see the direction, and I think it could be a useful direction in which to go. I just want to get back to normalcy where the police are tasked and equipped to take care of, people's safety in the various parts of the country, not just this area. So it's a rebranding effort. Let's hope it doesn't go like Coke and New Coke, and let's hope that we get the results that will benefit the people in these areas and everywhere around the country, actually.
All right. Thank you for sharing those thoughts, AB. What do you think about this initiative? I mean, replacing Operation Safe Haven with Enduring Peace, because when all is said and done, looking at what's going on in some areas of this country, in your Plateau State, Benue, Bauchi, and so on and so forth, peace is something that is very, very much needed. Let us know where you stand. Send us messages in on WhatsApp 0911 999 0981 0911 999 You can also leave a comment on YouTube as well at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, let's get back into the groove here. See, coming back to you with this one. And this has to do with education. Yes, The Guardian is the newspaper. The Ministry of Education has announced it has completed a review of educational curricula used in basic, senior secondary, and technical schools across the country. Now, this was announced in a statement dated Friday and shared by the ministry via its official X handle on Saturday. Interesting one coming out of the ministry here. We've talked about the curriculum for such a very long time. According to the minister, it's this review is targeted towards improving educational content to allow for deeper learning among students. Very, very much needed and very long overdue.
Yes, very correct. This is a very good step from the government because this review has been long overdue. Now, it's heartwarming and glad to hear that the curricula for primary schools, for secondary schools, and technical schools has been reviewed. Now, why this is important and why this is heartwarming is imagine the curricula that was being used before now. It was outdated, it seemed almost ancient, seemed out of place with the innovations and the developments in science and technology, and even with AI. So here we are, we now have an up-to-date curriculum. Fantastic. Now, we must add a note of caution. Having updated the curriculum, do we now have the teachers who can extract the very essence of this updated curricula and impart it to the students who need to benefit from it? Because we've all known long before now that part of the problem with Nigeria's education system today is the fact that we do not have the right number of teachers, we don't have the right quality of teachers, and we don't even have the right schooling environment in which knowledge can be properly imparted. So, take for example the science students, the science subjects, right? We've updated the curricula to match the developments on the ground.
Right.
Are we going to update the equipment around the country? Because this knowledge cannot only be theoretical with some subjects, it also has to be practical. For the technical schools, the same thing. So, yes, we note this, we're happy, but now comes the hard work. Now comes the serious work. One, you need to increase funding to bring to up to date the facilities required for the successful and proper impartation of the knowledge sought to be dispensed. More importantly, we have to ensure we have the right number of teachers who are properly trained and who can effectively impart knowledge. So it's not enough. We shouldn't rest on our oars that, oh, we've updated the curriculum and go to sleep. No. Now the serious work begins. And I can only hope they get it right.
AB, I know that this particular story definitely warms your heart, without a doubt.
Definitely. I'm just looking for a showdown from the Green Chamber to ensure that those teachers are properly provided for and equipped properly. I mean, I don't know whether there'll be a showdown from the National Assembly as well that, oh, this policy needs to be funded properly. Maybe they'll stay on their level of their constituency projects. But honestly, when you see what 6 and 7-year-old children are saying, what they are conceiving, how they're able to communicate based on what they see in some of these other countries. And you sometimes there's this trend I'm seeing on TikTok or something where you see a scene, then they'll put one kind of music, then you see a scene equivalent in Nigeria. It's very sad when you see the difference in what people are learning. But that said, this represents an opportunity. Now, it'll also take the teaching staff to be self-interested in upgrading themselves because you cannot ram knowledge into a natural born teacher. A teacher themselves should be trying to improve. But I think there's every possibility that we'll move from where we are forward and upward. And as long as there's dedication and the backing of the National Assembly to send funds to both the equipment, because look, young children, they are doing robotics. They're doing all sorts of things. And here, let's get light so that we can even try and do a few of these things. But kudos, good idea. I didn't know they were doing it, but it's good to hear that. This is the kind of story I want to hear. It has been done, not we shall soon be reviewing. So kudos to them. They have done something and they can now report about it in past tense.
You know what? I also felt very, very should I say pleased when I saw the story. And as we've said, it's something that's been so long overdue. Looking at the entire world, where the world has moved to, where the world is still moving to in terms of education, what is being done, what is applicable, what is necessary, what is relevant right now. We are nowhere near where it is that we need to be. But you take one step after the other, and slowly but surely you get to that destination, and we will get to that destination. And as Mr. C said, it's one thing to do the review, then every other thing that is involved, the teachers, the equipment, everything, we need all hands on deck to ensure that this is seen all the way to the end. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, let's come back into the stories here. Avi, I shall return to your desk right now. And I know that on Friday you had this particular conversation because I was listening when you and Joseph were talking about this, the increase in the passport fees. Well, Sarah have come out to speak once again, and this is coming from the Daily Trust, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project. Now, they've urged President Bola Tinubu to direct the Minister of the Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, and the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, the NIS, Kemi Nanda, to immediately reverse the arbitrary, unlawful, unjustified, and excessive passport fees of between 100,000 and 200,000 as well, which incidentally is supposed to kick in from today, September the 1st. And this increase comes barely a year after a similar increase on September the 1st of 2024. So it seems like every September, it's an upward hike of passport fees. So Sarah has said, please reverse this.
Now, they're saying millions of disadvantaged Nigerians cannot realistically afford to pay the increased fees, and that they should not be forced to spend their limited income to pay the increased fees instead of spending it on their basic living needs. I think, in all sincerity, nobody would make a choice to pay for a passport rather than paying for their regular needs. So I know Serap, they are very passionate about anything they get into, but looking at this story, I would only say these are not comparable. A need for your shelter, your food, your education, and a need to travel. I think they are two different things. When it comes to, in fact, passports are not only for travel. Sometimes they're for ID. But then I saw somebody on X saying, oh, compare the cost of a ticket abroad. People go to Benin Republic. Benin Republic is about to be the port that's going to serve the AES countries very, very soon and overtake Nigeria in every way. So people go next door, Cameroon, Niger, Chad, and Benin. Is not only going, and they go on foot. They go in keke. They go in cars. So it's not only a flight of hundreds of millions of naira, ordinary tens of thousands. So you still need a passport for that. But I'll just say this. As much as they said it was an unlawful increase, I don't know that, I stand to be corrected, does it take an act of parliament to raise the cost? Or is that something that's done within the ministry and they have come up with this figure? I made a mistake on Friday. I said it's about $130. Roughly. I mean, it's not for the 64-page booklet. And it's vaguely comparable with the cost of passports for some other countries. But of course, our incomes are nowhere comparable. And we have seen some other countries. There's a chart going around where you can see that the percentage of minimum wage for many other countries is much less. In Nigeria, is so much more than the minimum wage. So you just say to yourself, I may see the logic in adding the price if you're going to get better service. They say they want to deliver passports within 1 week. Sometimes that could cost. And if they get to that level of service delivery, maybe the pain of that cost may feel less hurtful. But the bottom line is that it really costs a lot. However, a person trying to make a trip to next door neighbor countries or further would somehow have to figure this in. I mean, Serap is calling the alarm, but I don't know that the president is going to listen to Serap. He hasn't listened to many other things that I would have even thought were very vital. I don't know that this, for our country-toting president, is going to be a topic he's going to consider important. He travels all the time. He has a diplomatic passport, and he's not about to worry about the rest of you who are paying more.
Okay, so let me quickly jump in on this, right? So in 2024, fees for the passports were raised from 35,000 to 50,000, then I think from 70,000 to 100,000. Barely a year later, the fees are going up again. Does this suggest that the passports are not being produced locally? And if they're not, what then is the function and purpose of the security printing and minting company? Isn't that what they're supposed to be dealing in the first place?
Do we have the technology to print here?
If we don't have the technology, that's a big shame. So, because this strongly suggests that we're printing outside and then we're subject to the vagaries and foreign currency fluctuations. So, the bigger question is, if we're not printing locally, why are we not printing locally? And is there going to be an increase next year? Because what was the story given when they increased the fee last year? So what's this business about? They want to deliver it within a week. There are many questions that can be unpacked from this story, but it's done, right? What is there to prevent them from increasing it next year? And again, we have a National Assembly that is seemingly on vacation.
When they get their constituency fees, they can afford passports. So this is not a priority for them. Once they have that showdown, they will be able to get the money and they will have the ability to afford the passports. You can understand why the National Assembly doesn't care.
All right, Mr. C, let's jump into this final story here. This is coming out of the Punch. It's kind of similar to the story we talked about replacing Operation Safe Haven with enduring peace. It's matters of security as well. Now, this is from a different perspective here, where former Kaduna State Governor, that's in the person of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, accused the federal government of financing terrorists instead of confronting them, warning that the policy threatens national security. He was speaking on China's television show on Sunday. Now, he said, he criticized what he described as a misguided, non-kinetic approach to insecurity, alleging that officials are paying and feeding bandits rather than eliminating them. A lot has been said about this particular issue, about this approach to dealing with the bandits and terrorists is not the way to go. You are treating them with kids' gloves, enabling them, and so on and so forth. But didn't the same Nasir El-Rufai, while he was governor of Kaduna State, kind of to that particular line as well?
So it's very inviting to attack the messenger and leave the message. Let's leave the messenger. Yes, during his time, he's reported to have said that he was paying for the peace, paying some non-state actors to maintain peace in Kaduna. Now, reported. Now, here we are, and he's criticizing the policy. And to some extent, you have to agree with him. How do we determine or establish that a non-state actor has been reformed or is ready for rehabilitation? Who makes that determination? Now, what is the extent of this reformation or rehabilitation? Are you getting him a house? Are you getting him clothes? Are you getting him food? Are you getting him utilities like water, like gas, like power? Now, if you're doing all of that for someone who willingly and voluntarily committed crimes against the criminal laws of this country, what then is the continued justification for keeping people in the correctional centers? Why not give them the option to become reformed and rehabilitated and then open up the correctional centers? Now, why should innocent taxpayers bear the brunt of funding this so-called rehabilitation and reformation process? It will interest some of our listeners to know that some of these so-called non-state terrorist actors are making a lot of money. ISWAP made $191 million from the Lake Chad corridor last year. In contrast, the sitting recognized state actor, which is the Borno state government, made 18 million US dollars. So the people you are seeking to reform are already super rich. What is the guarantees they will not go back to their criminal ways?
Since it's so lucrative.
Yes. Now, the ordinary Nigerian goes to school, struggles with the rigors of education, goes through the rigors of the National Youth Service Program, comes out and struggles to get a job, struggles to get a livelihood. And then we're giving money to these guys. So what is the story we're telling to the victims, to the survivors of the victims of these guys? That it's okay to be criminally minded, to be a terror kingpin, and that the state will look after you and ignore others. So I agree with his position. You may hate him, you may like him, he's a polarizing figure. But really and truly, where is this done by serious countries? Where you seek to rehabilitate, reform, and fund your enemy. It simply doesn't work.
All right, AB, let's get a word in real
One
quick.
word, to see this kind of policy, what does it do to the families of those who have lost loved ones? What are you sowing in their psyche? It's a question that must be answered if you think that this policy, I've heard too many state governments having deals with bandits. I think that a governor who does that should be shot. Yes, I said it. I didn't stutter.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. All right, let me run through your messages. Rexy from Thriller says, kudos to the Tinubu government for being proactive in reforming the education system. Another good step to national rebirth. All right, Tayo Inaja says, passport fees aren't coming down. Sarah, though commendable, won't yield any result. Now that the fees are above minimum wage, when will the wages rise to cope with our standard of living? That Nigerian printing company is just printing certificate paper. I'm not sure they're printing currency even. All right, Fabian Inekwe says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too, Fabian. Regarding the updated curricula in the schools, I hope that the minister will ensure that the teachers have been trained and the students taught before they start to be examined. I hope you'll also work towards a lasting solution in the universities. On another note, is the government changing the phrase to crime does pay? That's a good question. All right, and let me see, there's a comment here on YouTube so that I don't marginalize. Okay, there isn't a comment on YouTube. All right, we need to wrap it up here. Thank you all so very much for sharing your messages with us this morning. Thank you so very much to you, AB, and of course, Mr. C, for starting the week and the month on an amazing note. AB.
Thank you. It's been a mixed bag today, but as I said, September is a month for us to make memories that we can remember. Let's go out there, hold the bar. As Mr. C has said, every bar goes down to the end of the year. Let's make it happen. God bless you all. Have a great month ahead.
It's been a great show. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, AB. Let's go out. Let's do what we have to do.
All right, let's go out, do what we have to do, and make that bar very, very important. All right, keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. You know how it is, 8:15. It's all about sports in the locker room. That and so much more.